Welcome to the Heroic Investing Show. As first responders, we risk our lives every day. Our financial security is under attack. Our pensions are in a state of emergency. A single on-duty incident can alter or erase our earning potential instantly and forever. We are the heroes of society. We are self-reliant and we need to take care of our own financial future. The Heroic Investing Show is our toolkit of business and investing tactics on our mission to financial freedom.
Hello and welcome to episode 154 of the Heroic Investing Show. This is a show for first responders, veterans, active duty members of the military, and really anyone out there who is interested in the content and looking to add some free time to their financial future. And mainly we talk about doing that with passive income, right? And then we teach you how to, or we inspire you to go after your passion, whether that's real estate or a small business, whatever you want to do now that you have money coming in to replace that earned income and you got back the most precious thing of all, right? Freedom of time, freedom to have some time with your family and to pursue your unique genius. Well, our guest today, Commander Stuart Grazier, is no different. He's a perfect fit for that. Listen to Stuart's goals. So his goal is to be able to produce enough passive income through real estate where he can retire from the military at 20 years and not have to get a full-time job. He'd like to start a lending business, complete a syndication, and would also like to own some commercial real estate. He'd like to flip a minimum of 25 properties per year over the next 4 years until retirement. And I've been watching Stuart. We connected on LinkedIn. It seems like just about every other day he posts an example of having locked down a couple more properties to go into rehab and fulfilling the dream of an investor by turning over to them a rented and turnkey ready cash flowing property. So Stuart is moving in that direction. I have no doubt this gentleman is going to get there. So Stuart is a naval aviator. Right now he's executive officer at the Naval Operations Support Center up in Denver, Colorado. And he's a 2002 graduate from the Naval Academy. So, like 1 year after me, right? I can't believe we didn't know each other there. Stuart, and I connected really well. We're very similar. He's got, he's an enthusiast for real estate investing. He's a guy who really enjoys his job at the NOSC, and he feels that he's doing a great job there, but he also really likes to see the twinkle in the eyes of the investor who's extremely happy with the product that he and his team provide. They're doing a bunch of stuff up in Wisconsin. He has personally done a bunch of multifamily investing in Dallas, Fort Worth, Texas area. And, he's just doing great stuff. He also is a large contributor to a real estate investing enthusiast site put on for members of the military with another friend of ours, Tim Kelly, who's down in Pensacola, Florida, and will be coming up here shortly in another episode. I mentioned to you that my podcast production train kind of fell off the tracks mostly because of me and a bunch of travel. But we're back on, and we've got a bunch of episodes that are kind of stacked up, so I'm going to run them back to back, and then we'll get back to some of the good flashback kind of Friday kind of stuff that I've been running from Jason's episodes. So we're all on board. My name is Gary Pinkerton, co-hosting here with Jason, and I think you're going to absolutely love this conversation with Stuart Grazier. So let's get at it, and thanks for joining. Well, everyone, thanks again, and welcome back to the Heroic Investing Show. And as I mentioned in the introduction, we've got a distinct pleasure for having another Naval Academy graduate in the class of 2002 with me here today. He's just, a couple of years younger than me, but we got Stuart Grazier. And Stuart is running a very successful website called militaryinvestornetwork.com. And he's been on Bigger Pockets. He's been on several podcasts. And I'm going to let Stuart talk to you more detail than I gave you in the introduction about what his website, what his mission are all about, but it's exactly in alignment with the Heroic Investing Show. First and foremost, though, Stuart, welcome.
Hey, thank you so much, Gary. I really appreciate it. I'm humbled to be on here and be a part of your podcast. This is awesome.
Absolutely. Well, we're the ones that are blessed to have you on board. So can you tell us a little bit, well, first, how about your background, like what you're doing now and how you ended up focusing on military investors and real estate?
Yeah, so I am still active duty Navy. I've been in for 16 years now. And like you said, I graduated from the Naval Academy in 2002 and then went to flight school, got qualified flying helicopters first. And then about 10 years later, went and transitioned to fly the C-40, which is like the Boeing 737. Now I'm currently stationed in Denver, Colorado, as the executive officer of the Navy Reserve Center. Somewhere along those roads, I got really excited about real estate. And so I've been kind of dabbling in different niches of real estate for about 10 years now. My first experience with real estate was actually in flight school, and I wouldn't really call that true investing. It was kind of just dumb luck. A friend of mine said, "Hey, I've been buying some raw land in Alabama, and you should too." So I was like, "Yeah, what the heck? Let's give it a shot." And I went out to Alabama, just on the other side of the border from Pensacola, Florida, and bought just a new development, quarter-acre lot. And then about a month later, a hurricane came through and wiped out a lot of the area. But about 6 months later, the realtor who I bought it from called me up and said, "Hey, I have an interested buyer for your piece of land. They want about twice as much as what you paid for it." I said, "Sweet, this real estate stuff is pretty cool." So, I sold it, and that was kind of my first little dabble into real estate. And then after that, kind of got busy with flight school and, the Navy, and kind of took a hiatus there for a little while. But I really got focused on it, about 3 or 4 years down the road. So been doing quite a bit of different stuff. Been doing some, private lending and mortgage notes and flipping and buy and hold rentals. So I've kind of dabbled in quite a few different things. On my last tour, I was in Europe, in Italy, and a colleague of mine, also a Naval Academy graduate, we started talking one day and kind of got on the subject of real estate, and we started a local meetup there in Naples, Italy, and invited a few of our friends and just started kind of talking about real estate and what he's done and what I've done, and it was a lot of fun. From there, we kind of said, "Hey, let's make a website, and let's invite others, and let's see who else is out there, doing real estate in the active duty world." And so we did. And so we just started kind of reaching out to people that we knew, and come to find out that there's a lot more people that we knew that are doing real estate. And so that's kind of where it got started. The idea behind the Military Investor Network is about just creating those networks and building something with people that you know and trust, that are in the military and that are serving our country, and that also want to learn and create passive income for themselves, build their wealth, and use the advantages that you can have in the military to do that. The Military Investor Network, it's free for anyone who is either active or a veteran, or even their spouses or family members. And it's really just about, educating, learning, connecting, networking, and, creating something that we can build upon. And there's partnership opportunities, there are investment opportunities, and there's just education and learning opportunities through it.
Nice. So, Stuart, you said there's partnership opportunities. That's really from networking, right? So this is the important word about Military Investor Network is it's for military and it's a network. Those are 2 words.
Yeah.
But it's not really a source for turnkey kind of products or even deal flow other than from one person to another. Is that accurate?
Yeah, so there is a tab on the page where, members can post deals if they want to, if they have an investment opportunity, or I have another company that we've started providing turnkey single-family home rentals. And so, if I have a turnkey rental property, I can post it on the website, just, if anyone is interested in buying rental properties, or if someone is looking for a lender or a partner, it's just a place that folks can go on and post investment opportunities.
And a lot of education and blogs. So, it's a wonderful resource for military individuals. And, the discussion forum, there's some great topics that I've looked through on there. And then there's the meetups, right? And so you've got, I counted close to 10 meetups across the country and then in other countries, amazingly.
And like I said, it kind of all started there in Naples, Italy, where a friend of mine and I started it. And, again, just reaching out to different people and found out that they're doing their own meetups. And so, and if anybody else has their meetups going in their locations, I would love to be able to help promote their meetups. And it's just a great way to network and to meet people and to learn, what others are doing. It's pretty good.
So what kind of feedback, like the most helpful stuff on the website, have you found from some subscribers, maybe some recent subscribers?
There's a discussion forum, and people will post questions or post articles, ways to just learn, questions about how to analyze a deal, or stuff that they haven't thought about before. And there's just great feedback through those discussion forums. I have a YouTube video that is connected through there as well, and I'll try to post videos on how to analyze a single family house, or I've done interviews with others that are maybe doing multifamily syndications. And so it's really just all about educating and finding new topics and discussing and asking questions. So I think that discussion forum is huge.
Nice. You mentioned that you were running, if you would just talk a couple minutes about your turnkey providing company. So you're doing some rehabs, you're finding properties, rehabbing them, and then selling them to investors. Is that what you meant?
Yep, exactly. So my college roommate from the Naval Academy, he has been doing some real estate on the side, and I've been doing some real estate, and he bought some turnkey houses from a different company and didn't have a very good experience with it. And I bought a few through a turnkey company in Birmingham, Alabama. And not as bad of an experience as he did, yeah. But he and I were talking, and like, hey, I think we could do this better, and provide a great product for our friends, for our network. And so that's kind of what we started. He had already had a network started in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, which is where his wife is from and where his investments were. And so we just started building a team. We found like a really solid realtor there who's had a ton of experience. From her, we built some contracting companies, talked to a few, kind of vetted them. And through just those team members, kind of created a bigger team. And from our lessons that we experienced through the turnkey companies, we decided on how we want to build it. And so from there, we just started buying houses. And we buy them, we rehab them, and then turn it over to a property management company, and they put a renter. And then we will sell it as a rented, rehabbed single family home to someone who wants to buy it, and then just cash flowing from day one.
How long have you been doing this?
So we started the company 4 months ago.
Okay.
We are buying number 10 at the end of this week.
Nice. Congratulations.
Yeah, thanks. So we're averaging about 2 to 3 a month right now.
Awesome. So tell me how you do, tell the listeners, how do you do this while you're on active duty and juggling all the stuff that the military brings?
It's a challenge. I'm not going to lie. I wake up about 04 a.m. every single morning, try to knock out as much stuff as I can in the first 2 hours of my day, and then go to work, do my Navy job. If there's a lunch break or something like that, I'll try to get on my email and correspond with our team members or whatever else is going on. Come home, do some family time, and then as soon as the kiddos go to bed, get right back at it.
Nice.
And normally stay up until 10, 11 o'clock at night. And so I've lost some sleep over it, but I think it's all worth it. A lot of it also is about, kind of putting systems and processes in place.
Yeah.
Kind of having the same routine over and over again on a daily basis. And then also going back to that team and relying a lot, putting a lot of trust and faith in your team to help out where they can.
Right. So, audience, one of the things that Stuart didn't say is that he's got a 3-year-old and a less than 1-year-old at home. So he is not someone, who has got a ton of free time, but doing an amazing job putting together what you have and what you have done already in these first few months. So if you're out there and you're single still and, you've got a deployment to contend with, that's challenging. But on those times you're on shore duty, and even on deployments or even when you're assigned to sea duty, think very, very long about what's holding you back. So this is my kind of call to action is I continue to interview people who are doing it with busy jobs, small children, running 2 companies. I think hopefully I want to raise the threshold of what you think is possible and what you think is normal, because that will get you across the line to just starting. And gosh, I was going to quote, I don't remember who it was now, but I think at least certainly Zig Ziglar has said, it's something like you don't have to get it exactly right to get started, but you have to start to get it right, right? To actually have anything happen, you got to start. Taking the first step, super important. And so if we can, I think, lower the barrier to entry of what people think is possible, or raise the barrier, I guess, to what they think is possible and raise what they think is normal so that it's just not that unusual to step out there and get that first rental property. I mean, even if it doesn't go well, you're going to learn a tremendous amount by getting that first property rather than waiting to get a much nicer, newer, perfect situation at the next duty station. So that's kind of my rant, to get out there and try it. Even if you get the timing totally wrong, you're still going to learn a tremendous amount for very little cost.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you, Gary. I mean, it really is all about taking that first step and taking action. I have made a lot of mistakes in the 10 years of investing in real estate. I've lost some money and, I've obviously gained some money too,
Yeah.
but, it's a lot of trial and error. It's a lot of, asking questions and doing your own research. And just like any job in the military, you go into it and you figure it out. I'm sure it's in most military jobs, you get into a job and you have no idea what you're doing, and a lot of it's trial and error, and you figure it out over time, and you just make it happen and get it done. And so it really is just about taking action and taking that first step.
Yeah, I personally believe that there's a great saying out there that everyone makes mistakes, just learn from them. The really wise people they are able to learn from other people's mistakes and not make them. I've still never met someone like that. I seem to have to learn most of the mistakes myself, or at least have enough mistakes in your little, enough marks on your back, I guess, from the mistakes that you gain experience that way. I mean, experience comes from mistakes, right? So I think you just have to get out there and have those mistakes happen. Just make sure they're not big enough that they completely wipe you out. And that builds the experience base. It builds the gut feel that you need to be able to go bigger. I think people who are most set up for failure are individuals who buy 10 properties and somehow get lucky enough that nothing happens to any of them, because those people have yet to build the experience base, and they're about to make a really big, expensive mistake that could wipe them out because they haven't learned to go a little bit slower and ask a little bit more questions and be a little more skeptical. And I don't think you can get that from someone else. I don't know. I'd be curious on your perspective. I
don't think so either. I think take some action, and if something goes wrong, hopefully it was a calculated risk that you took, and just like you said, it doesn't wipe you out, and you can continue to move on and learn from it and really make yourself better from those lessons learned. I've had a few of those where I thought it might have wiped me out, but, through just perseverance and a little bit of grit and determination, kind of just push forward and move on. And there was definitely some times where I could have just quit. But this has been something that I love doing, and I really want to make it, a career after the military. Something you just keep on pushing and learning and making yourself better from. Yeah, I completely agree. And I think you have a bright future in this world with what you're already doing. Did you purchase properties to live in and then hold on to them as you kind of moved around in the military? We did, yeah. Okay. The first one we bought was in San Diego in 2005. Nice timing. Yeah, great time. So there we go with that timing and some mistakes. But what we did with it is I was single at the time. I partnered with another guy and we bought it together, and it wasn't a cheap house, but we had renters, we had roommates. Now the phrase is kind of coined as a house hack. And at the time, didn't really know what we were doing, but we did know that it was helping basically pay our mortgage for us. Having those renters and then going on a deployment and continuing to have renters, it helped out tremendously. Reduce those expenses. And so that was kind of our first go at buying a house, living in it, and keeping it as a rental. I am a huge proponent of that, and I push everyone that's young, that's kind of starting out, to do something like that. Buy a 4-unit or a 3-unit or a duplex, or just bring on roommates. I did the same thing my first house, and I didn't continue the method much after that. I mean, we bought a couple houses, Sue and myself, after we got married, but that first one, as a single guy, partnering exactly like you did, it was in Connecticut. It wasn't quite as expensive, but it was expensive. And we had renters, other friends who were renting from us. I mean, that was tremendously beneficial financially when we went through that process. But anyone now can still do that, right? And it's a great plan, especially when, even married with very young kids, I think you're still fine. I mean, eventually, I think you get worn out and you're going to want to have a larger 3-bedroom, 2-bath or something on your own without renters. And especially when you are single and a bunch of guys in the first duty station, that is a perfect time to learn a lot of experiences. And you've got some pretty forgiving renters with you with really good incomes, to follow along with you. Did you use VA at all? Yep, we use the VA. And I think, that's such a huge advantage to military is that VA loan. And, if you can use a VA loan and buy a duplex, live in one side and rent out the other, and that rent is basically covering your mortgage, that is such a huge step in the right direction to grow your wealth. And just that experience of learning how to be a landlord. And, I think it's such a big step in taking that to start building your wealth there.
Yeah, and that is certainly not something that is uncommon. So, young members of the military buying a first home and then moving on, having a VA on that, moving to their next one, renting that out, using the remainder of their VA. A lot of people have big misconceptions about being able to use VA more than once. And I invite you to go back and listen to some of the heroic investing stuff that I did last fall. And we focused on that topic for 3 or 4 episodes. So listeners, go back and talk about, or go back and listen to those if you're interested. But the VA offers some substantial opportunities. And for veterans who came out, if you had any kind of a disability, they'll waive the VA funding fee, which is the only, drawback if there are any with VA. And so it becomes very easy to kind of refinance properties and things like that. So kind of moving away a little bit from funding, what's the outlook for you for, the next, let's say 5 years with respect to these businesses?
I have 4 years left until I can retire. I'll probably, the plan right now is to retire at 20 and continue to grow on the couple different businesses that I have in real estate. I have a business that owns rental properties. I have a business that is doing the turnkey, real estate out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And then I also have a private lending business where I do some private lending and then own mortgage notes as well. So, I'd really like to kind of just build on all 3 of those, continue to grow and help people get into real estate through the Military Investor Network. If I had my way, I wouldn't have to go get, a 9-to-5 W-2 employment kind of job after I get out of the Navy and just kind of grow these real estate companies and continue to do what I'm doing now, but more on a full-time scale.
That's awesome. So, Stuart, what have we not covered as we come near the close here with this awesome conversation?
I think it just kind of goes back to what we talked about already, is just taking that first step for our listeners that are just starting to think about getting into investing and real estate. And, you can do this while you're in the military or, while you're a firefighter or a policeman or, just learning as much as you can, growing your network as much as you can. There's something to be said about the people you put yourself around. If you can go to real estate meetups on the weekends, listening to podcasts and reading and, instead of just, sitting in front of the TV at night after your day job in the military, or put yourself out there and learn and get yourself around some people that are doing it and find a mentor and take that action to start investing in real estate.
That's awesome. So I named militaryinvestornetwork.com. Is there another or better way to reach out and contact you?
So that's it, really. Militaryinvestornetwork.com. You can email me. It's just Stuart, Stuart, at militaryinvestornetwork.com. We also have a Facebook page. We have an Instagram account. We have a YouTube channel. But all that can be, linked through the website there.
That's awesome. So any book recommendations for listeners that are interested in real estate investing?
Wow, there's a lot of really great books out there. There's a recent one that David Green wrote. Mm-hmm. He's a Bigger Pockets guy.
He was on our show. Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
Very cool. Yes, so the one he wrote about investing out of state, putting teams together, and just like if you're in the Navy, you're mostly on the coast, you're going to be living in, San Diego or Norfolk or Washington, D.C., and some of those places.
It's not going to cash flow.
Not the best places to be really investing in real estate. So, learning how to put teams together and finding other markets, I think, is a really good book.
Got it. Okay, perfect. And of course, Robert Kiyosaki's and many, the cash flow investor, there's a lot of them out there. And Stuart, for you, thanks so much, my friend. I appreciate it very much having a Naval Academy graduate on here. It's been a few episodes.
Yeah, thank you so much, Gary. It's really been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for listening. Please be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss any episodes. Be sure to check out the show's specific website and our general website, hartmanmedia.com, for appropriate disclaimers and terms of service. Remember that guest opinions are their own, and if you require specific legal or tax advice or advice in any other specialized area, please consult an appropriate professional. And we also very much appreciate you reviewing the show. Please go to iTunes or Stitcher Radio or whatever platform you're using and write a review for the show. We would very much appreciate that. And be sure to make it official and subscribe so you do not miss any episodes. We look forward to seeing you on the next episode.